Love is in the air, I can feel it everywhere. And my girl, when we're together, life's a breeze. Love is like the sun, shining down on everyone. And with its light, I found you, it gives me warmth. Love is like the sun, love is in the air. Love is everywhere, unlimited and free, my love. Love is like the sun, love is in the air. Love is everywhere, unlimited and free, my love.
Okay, class, as we already done discussing the topic of the chapter 2, which is all about the linguistic and literacy development of children and adolescents, I have prepared a video clip that is related to our topic, which is the story reading. I hope you will enjoy and listen to the video.
Ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a girl named Cinderella. Cinderella was kind, smart, and beautiful. When Cinderella was very young, she had a happy life. Then one day, her mother died. Soon after, Cinderella's father married a woman who had 2 daughters of her own. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were not kind. The stepmother gave her daughters, Lottie and Dottie, fancy dresses and wonderful toys. She gave Cinderella nothing. Then, sadly, Cinderella's father died too, and Cinderella was left in the large house with her stepmother, Lottie and Dottie. Cinderella's life was awful. The stepmother made Cinderella a servant in her own home. Cinderella had to rise early every morning and spend each day cooking meals, scrubbing floors, washing dishes, and taking orders from Lottie and Dottie. The stepmother even made Cinderella sleep in the kitchen corner next to the fireplace, which was full of dust and cinders. That is why she was called Cinderella. Cinderella's clothes were tattered and her face was smudged with cinders, but she had a cheerful heart. Lottie and Dottie teased her all the time. "Your clothes look like dirty diapers," Lottie would shriek. "Your face looks like a bucket of mud," Dottie would say. Then they would pop chocolates into their mouths and watch as Cinderella scrubbed the floor. Lottie and Dottie were as ugly on the inside as they were on the outside. One day, a page from the castle arrived at the house with an invitation. "The prince," said the page, "is holding a grand ball in 3 nights. He is hoping to find a bride. Every young woman in the kingdom shall come and meet the prince." Lottie and Dottie were very excited. "I'm going to marry the prince," said Dottie, as she clapped her hands. "Why would the prince marry you?" asked Lottie. "You look like a rotten potato." Lottie and Dottie were just about to get into a fight when Cinderella asked, "Can I go to the ball?" Lottie and Dottie looked at her and they began to laugh. They laughed harder and harder and harder. They laughed so hard they fell on the ground and rolled. "You can't meet the prince," said Lottie as she laughed. "Your clothes look like dirty diapers." "And your face," said Dottie, gasping as she giggled. "It looks like a bucket of mud." "Girls," said the stepmother, "of course Cinderella may go to the ball. She can go to the ball if she finishes all her chores and makes herself a new dress." That day, the stepmother gave Cinderella a long list of chores to do. All that long day, Cinderella scrubbed and tidied. There was no time to make a new dress. The next day, the stepmother gave Cinderella a longer list of chores to do. Cinderella worked late into the night, and again, there was no time to make a new dress. On the 3rd day, the stepmother gave Cinderella the longest list of chores yet. Cinderella worked hard all day, and she still didn't finish her chores. There was no time to make a new dress. It was time for the ball. "Oh well," said Lottie, "you can't go to the ball. Better luck next time." "Too bad," said Dottie. "The prince won't get to see your dirty face." "Good night, Cinderella," said the stepmother, and they left her alone in the large house. Cinderella was very sad. She went out into the garden, sat down on a bench, and cried. Suddenly, poof! A sweet little old lady appeared. "Cinderella," said the little old lady, "I am your fairy godmother. Since it is your wish, you will go to the ball." "But how?" asked Cinderella. "I have no dress. My face is dirty. I have no way to get to the castle." "Run and get me 4 mice, a pumpkin, and a lizard from here in the garden," said the fairy godmother. Cinderella ran about the house and garden and gathered everything the fairy godmother needed. First, the fairy godmother touched the pumpkin with her golden wand. There was a puff of smoke, and suddenly the pumpkin turned into a fabulous coach. Second, the fairy godmother touched the 4 mice with her golden wand. There was a puff of smoke, and suddenly the mice turned into 4 proud white horses. Then the fairy godmother touched the lizard with her golden wand. There was a puff of smoke, and suddenly the lizard turned into a coachman in uniform. Cinderella was very surprised. "Now," said the fairy godmother, "since you are so kind and so smart, Cinderella, I will make you as beautiful on the outside as you are on the inside." The fairy godmother gently tapped her golden wand on Cinderella's rags, and suddenly her clothes turned into a beautiful dress. On her feet were 2 delicate slippers made of glass. "Enjoy yourself at the ball," said the fairy godmother, "but be warned, my magic will end at midnight, and everything will be as it was before." "Oh, thank you," said Cinderella, as she climbed into the coach and it drove off to the castle. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, everyone looked at her. She was the most beautiful young woman at the castle. She looked so different with a clean face and nice clothes that the stepmother, Lottie and Dottie, did not know who she was. The prince thought Cinderella was beautiful too. When he spoke to her, he discovered that she was also kind, smart, and funny. She was as beautiful on the inside as she was on the outside. She was also a terrific dancer. The prince danced with her all night long, and Cinderella had never had so much fun. Lottie and Dottie grew very bored because they could not dance with the prince. They stood in a corner and ate a lot of ham sandwiches. Cinderella and the prince had a wonderful time together. The prince was funny, charming, and nice. Suddenly, Cinderella noticed that the clock was about to strike midnight. "I've had a lovely evening," said Cinderella to the prince, "but I have to go now." She gathered up her skirts and ran out of the ball. "Wait, I don't even know your name," said the prince. He chased after her, but Cinderella had disappeared into the night. Then the prince found one of Cinderella's delicate glass slippers on the steps of the castle. In her rush to leave, the slipper had fallen off, and she hadn't stopped to put it back onto her foot. "I will search every house in my kingdom to find the young woman whose foot fits into this slipper," said the prince, "and I will marry her, if she would like to marry me." The next day, the prince began his search. He went to each and every house in the kingdom. The glass slipper did not fit on any young woman he met. Finally, he reached Cinderella's house. First, Lottie struggled to fit her foot into the glass slipper. Lottie's foot was much too long. Then, Dottie tried to fit her foot into the glass slipper. Dottie's foot was much too wide. "Are there any more young women in this house?" asked the prince. "Only our servant girl," said the stepmother, "but she didn't go to the ball." "And her clothes look like dirty diapers," said Lottie. "And her face looks like a bucket of mud," said Dottie. "I would like her to try it," said the prince, and they had to obey him because he was the prince. Cinderella came out from the kitchen and put the slipper on her foot. It fit her perfectly. The prince smiled at Cinderella and nervously asked her, "Will you be my bride?" "I certainly will," said Cinderella. "You are as handsome on the inside as you are on the outside, and you're a terrific dancer." The stepmother, Lottie, and Dottie were very angry. "She's not the girl who lost the slipper," said the stepmother. Suddenly, poof, the fairy godmother appeared. "Cinderella is the girl who lost the slipper," she said. "See?" She touched Cinderella's clothes with her golden wand, and Cinderella's rags turned back into the beautiful dress, and the other glass slipper appeared on her foot. "Now," said the fairy godmother to Lottie and Dottie, "since you are as ugly on the inside as you are on the outside, I will transform Lottie into a dirty rag and Dottie into a bucket of mud." "No," said Cinderella. "Lottie and Dottie, as well as my stepmother, will be welcome to the castle as guests of the prince and me." Cinderella was as beautiful on the inside as she was on the outside. Soon after, Cinderella and the prince married. The stepmother, Lottie, and Dottie moved into the castle too. They ate a lot of chocolates and ham sandwiches, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end.
Enjoy the film showing class?
Yes, ma'am.
So before I dismiss the class, I want you to have a reflection about the topic we all discussed in the chapter 2.
Reflection. In bilingual language development, I reflect myself on this when I was in grade school because I was able to learn, understand, and I can speak 2 languages simultaneously.
I reflect in this topic in my preschool age because when I was 3 to 4 years old, I started talking to 3 or even more than 5 words to my parents or to the other people around me. Even the way I speak, the words are not so good and so understandable, but still I was able to connect the word based on how I wanted so that the person I talked to would be able to understand and can answer me back.
The advantages of bilingual development, my reflection about this as a bilingual child is that I was able to have the ability or the capacity to think and understand about language and able to focus my attention on a specific particular task.
Early language stimulation. I was able to be reflected with this that has been truly happened to me, or I have truly experienced this thing over again. Just like the example of what I have experienced with friends, getting confused, living in a single thing, seeking for a comfortable and balance with the environment and the society. Actually, I learned to talk and to read and write through interacting with illiterate children and adults. Thank you.
Good day, ma'am. I reflect myself on this because I was able to handle and understand emergent reading by the help of my parents, relatives, friends. They help me how to understand a word without asking yourself or thinking hard about it. They taught me how to find words using simple things that could help me add my own knowledge of about words, reading, and language. That's all.
Mom, in factors affecting development, I reflected myself on this. I experienced interacting to the other people when I was in school age because I talk to people or I talk to my mother in funny or joke way and able to see their reactions so that I can manage the reactions of the other people, other person if I do it to them also.
On this topic because emergent and early literacy because I was able to read, understand, and definitely decode and recognize unfamiliar words fluently and automatically, which helps me right now to mix other people with confidence. Here you go.
Bilingual language development disadvantages. I reflected myself into this because I have experienced having limited vocabulary because on how my parents taught me at home, what I heard from them also because I believe on what myself think of what else. Even my parents speak only one language. So why do I need to speak 2 languages if I can do the same things as my parents do?
My reflection about national history of language development is that when I started studying in high school, I wasn't able to communicate well to my teachers and even to my co-students or classmates because I don't have yet the confidence and experience to talk to other people that the other students has.
Well, ma'am, I was reflected on this so-called hollow face
which is to communicate more complex thoughts when I was still a child. Because as far as I remembered and what as my parents told me about how I talk on my early childhood, I was able to talk or say words, enable for them to understand what I need or want when I'm in dirt, or if I need someone to talk with just to make myself laugh or just escape from crying. That's all.
I have reflected myself to the topic story reading because when I was in high school, because I was not a good student on my elementary level. I was a bad girl. I do not listen to my teachers. Instead of listening to the teachers, I just go out to the room with my friends without asking permission to our teachers. That's why even the simple story reading, I don't have an idea until I reach high school year or level. Only this time I was thought about it. I have realized that I was wrong. I was really wrong doing such things that I have done on the past 6 years. Only in my high school life, I have realized everything. I can say that I have realized everything because of the realization I had taught me, changed me, and make me better than what I was 6 years ago. I know this kind of far from what I've said story reading, because I am not now story reading, I am storytelling on what I have experienced about this topic.
I reflected myself on this topic about literate communicate environment, because every parents wants the best community to their children to have, just like my parents wants me have. That's why my parents decided to send me in a proper and respected elementary school that offers language environments that really encourage and makes me feel or makes focus on listening and studying participating.
I reflect myself as a future teachers that I will teach them slowly, and if some person or some students cannot understand, cannot read well, so I will let him read and make sure that they will gain knowledge from our lesson. Thank you. Yeah.
I reflect on that topic of expansional development, which are Asia. Every one of us has many different abilities, our skills and talents. Some students have a higher critical thinking ability, while the others are good in performing activities like dancing, singing, or sports. That's why, as a future educator, I need to be fair with them. That's all.
In making video presentation, I reflect myself on it in the sense that as a future educator, I must always understand and accept that there is differences between my future students, and I will make sure that I must here to guide them, to help them, and to encourage them to improve their skills and capabilities in language and literacy aspects by using different strategies and methods to improve it. Go. Thank you for the reflections. You're now dismissed. Pick up the pieces of papers, arrange the chairs, and you may go now. Yes. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Bye.
Oh, hey.
Hot sun and clear blue skies, the waves are crashing by. And when she passed me by and gave a wink and smile, and I was on cloud nine, Lord, the way you move your hips and lick your lips, the way you dip, you got me up so high. And girl, you got that body with them curls like a Bugatti, I just wanna drive, oh. And girl, you know, round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop, oh. Round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop, oh. Round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop, oh. Round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop, oh. Gravity define, I can't believe my eyes. That thing can bring the tide. Hey, around and round clockwise, like a merry-go-ride. I wanna go all night. Yeah, the way you move your hips and lick your lips, the way you dip, you got me up so high. Yeah. And girl, you got that body with them curls like a Bugatti. I just wanna drive, oh. And girl, you know, round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula hula hoop, oh. Round and round your love, it winds me up like a hula hula hoop, hula